You know what he's doing, Sergeant Major, and that's great. So we'll be right back. This is Your Army Now. Cue the music.
Coming to you live from the NorCal studios in Sacramento, California, this is Your Army Now.
I just love that music. It's my theme music. It's our theme music. All right. I love the fact that we have our own theme music. It's awesome. Anyway, so welcome back again. I'm Sergeant First Class Bennett, and this is Your Army Now. And so what we're going to do for this first segment is we're going to just do some house cleaning. I'm going to give you some information. We're going to talk about some things, and then we're going to get into some real fun stuff. All right. So first thing is on Memorial Day we have a fun run, as we call it in the Army, coming up. It's called the No Excuses 5K Run. All right, and it takes place here in the Sacramento area. If you're in that area, in this area on Memorial Day, come on down. It's at the William Land Park, and it's going to be fun, and it takes place within the park. The entire run can be done. We're not going to be on the street and everything. It's going to be fun. It's a beautiful area. You should come on down if you're in this area and do it. And later on, I'm going to announce a special guest that will be joining us at that run. I'm going to keep you in suspense. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but it's going to be awesome. All right. So moving on, we have, let's see, all you recruiters out there, please make sure you let us know about your events that's coming up. I don't care what state you're in. I don't care what city you're in. It doesn't have to be here on the West Coast. If you have some events coming up, let us know. We will put it on this show. We're here to help you. It's not just for our own ego. Well, it is a little bit of our own ego, but that's not all it's about. All right, so come on, give us some information. All right, also later this week, this is going to be cool. So a few weeks ago, last week, we had an episode that Sergeant Nevis did. He talked about the eSports video game team that we have. This is cool. So in New York, all right, New Yorkers, where you at? We have the NBA 2K draft in New York City, all right, for the esports video game event that's coming up, all right? And we here in Sacramento Battalion, NorCal Battalion, we have a representative that's going to go down there. He's going to represent for us. His name is Staff Sergeant Mo, all right? Staff Sergeant Mo, hit us up on the comments, all right? He's going to represent us down there at the NBA draft. All right, the NBA 2K draft is going to happen in New York City. It's coming up. It's going to be awesome. All right, so you know everything. We're going to keep reiterating some of the things that we talk about in past episodes. It's all coming together full circle. You see how that's working? All right, next, let's see what else we're going to talk about. Yesterday, Sergeant Major spent a lot of time on talking about the education system that we have here, right? The education benefits. He talked about. He broke the numbers down on the whiteboard, and. So if you're in the California area and you're thinking about going to college and you want to hand in your financial aid FAFSA information, guess what? You missed your deadline. All right, the deadline was March 2nd, and you missed it. You know, so what does that mean? Does it mean you're not going to go to college this year? No, it doesn't mean that. It means you're going to go into your recruiting office. You're going to give us a call. You're going to we're going to help you get into college. All right, so. You see how that works? You see what we're doing here? Are you now starting to, the wheels are starting to turn? All right. What else are we going to talk about? Let's see. I don't want to miss anything here. All right. So everyone remember that the policies, the Army policies that we have, it continues to change and it continues to change, right? So as of now, the tattoo policy just changed. I'm not going to get into details right now. We're going to get into it a little bit later on, but the tattoo policies have changed. So don't let this discourage you. Come on down. If you got changed, if you got turned around in the past about tattoos because you couldn't join because whatever tattoos you had, the policies have changed. So go to your nearest recruiting office and ask them, hey, look, a few months ago, I got turned away because of my tattoos. I understand it changed. Sergeant Bennett told me it changed, so what's going on? And your recruiter will let you know, and maybe you can enlist right now, all right? So let's keep it moving, all right? Okay, so we're gonna go to a break. We have to go to a break. We gotta do this, we gotta pay bills. I like saying that. We don't really pay bills here, but hey, we got to go to a break. Also, in this break, I want you to meet the team, all right? Because we have some people behind the cameras. You know Sergeant Major, you know me, you know Sergeant Neves, but there's some other people behind the cameras you don't know. So in this next commercial break, you're going to see some of our team members, all right? So we're going to go to a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about military families. We have something called the Blue Star Mom. It originally started as the Blue Star Mom, right? And if you don't know what that is, we're going to talk about it. We're going to actually meet an actual Blue Star Mom, and we're going to talk more about it. So come on back, go to commercial. This is Your Army Now.
Have you ever thought about what could happen if you walk through these doors? Come on, let's find out. So, what do you think?
Wow.
Peace, family. How you doing? Welcome back to Your Army Now. So we've been getting a lot of requests to include more younger people involved in this show. It's just a bunch of old people sitting around talking about the Army. So what we're going to do for this next segment is we're going to talk to two soldiers that just came back from basic training and advanced individual training, and they were answering questions live. It was live at the time they recorded this. Actually, I want to give a shout out to Sergeant First Class McLean. She works at our training shop now here at the battalion, NorCal Recruiting Battalion. She's our training shop NCO, and when she was a station commander, her and her team put together a whole bunch of videos of really cool information and videos. So we took one of her videos from, I think about a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, where she spoke to some soldiers and they got to answer some questions live about their basic training experience. So I think this information is about a year old, but I think it's still good information that is useful for some of the soldiers that are about to go to basic training now. So I think it's still relevant. So we're going to play it now for you. So check this out. This is Your Army Now. Be right back.
Everyone, I'm PFC Hernandez, and
I'm Private Becerra.
we're here answering your questions live. Just wanted to start off by introducing myself. I'm 20 years old. I enlisted into the Army at this age. I'm currently on my week 7 in basic training. I was still in the red phase, so when I get back, I'll be transitioning to blue phase. I have my associate's degree, so I went to college for a couple years, and then I went ahead and decided to look into joining the Army. Initially, definitely was not my first choice. I was all about college. I wanted to go ahead and just get my career going. I wanted to focus on, doing the whole behavioral health and psychology path. But then I went ahead and looked into the Army, and I seen that they actually had careers that were actually college degrees and stuff like that. So went ahead and contacted the recruiter. They got back to me really quickly and then showed me all the opportunities. Initially, I was looking into 35 Fox, I was like, that's super cool with the clearance and, all that stuff. But I went ahead and continued on with my path with psychology. So my MOS is a behavioral health specialist. That's a 6D X-ray. I'm super proud of it because I have my degree in it. So I'm excited. I'm not an AIT yet, so I haven't, learned anything specifically on that MOS yet. Super excited. Let's see. I'm married, so my spouse isn't in the military, but I am. So ladies out there, you can do it too. So let's see. Yeah, that's all I got for now. So you want to take over?
So like I said, I'm Private Becerra. Afternoon. I started out in Patterson, California, which is only like about 20 minutes away from Turlock Recruiting Center. And I used to box, kickbox, jiu-jitsu, and wrestling, so I really like to be hands-on physical. And originally I was joining the Air Force. I wanted to do Special Operations, TACP, which is Tactical Air Control Party. And but they couldn't guarantee me the job, so I came to the Army. The Army looked around there, then I found infantry. So I joined, I believe it was in the middle of my senior year, and then I finally shipped out to Fort Benning, Georgia, Infantry School, August 8th. And I graduated like about a month ago, and so right now I'm at Fort Campbell, Kentucky, 101st Screaming Eagles. So that's my story.
So what was it like leaving home and actually going to basic training?
It's different, especially if you've never left your home for longer than like a week. Initially it is hard, but I mean, you get close to the people around you because all of you are going through the same, I don't want to say struggle, but you guys are going through the same, new experience. And you guys kind of, it's like inevitable to not build that bond with them. You kind of just end up bonding with the people around you and end up sharing your stories from where you're from. And so it's like you become comfortable really quick, especially during your initial phase of basic training. You're in reception, so you have kind of a lot of downtime to get to know the people around you. So it's not too difficult. I would say I'm pretty much a chicken to be away from home, and I did it, so it's not that difficult.
For me, it was actually fairly easy because communication and basic training is, it's pretty easy. You get to ride home every night. You receive letters as soon as they get them, and you get a phone call at the end of each phase. So contact was not hard at all for me. So it worked out in the end.
I agree. I had contact like every Sunday. I would get a phone call, so it was nice. It's not like I didn't have contact with my family. So
yeah, I would ride every night before I went to sleep. I would get it sent out the next morning. The mail carriers would take it.
Yeah, like you had time to keep in contact with your family, so it wasn't like you were totally lost of what was going on back home.
And then for me, as soon as the mail came in, like they would go pick it up and we would form up and they would give it to us right then and there. Get time to read it, then continue what you were doing for the rest of the day.
Yeah, same.
So contact, it's not a problem. You definitely can do it. Just gotta stay motivated. And I mean, rereading the letters too, because those are always nice too. Rereading, you get time to reread them.
Yeah, absolutely. And it keeps you motivated too, especially you're busy most of the time, so it's not like you have a lot of downtime to sit there and think about, oh, I miss home so much. You're really involved in training, so it's not too difficult.
And you could have them send you packages. I had people receiving crazy amounts of stuff in basic.
Yeah.
So that was nice.
Yeah, it is nice.
So, Private First Class Hernandez, you mentioned something about having downtime to be able to get to know the people that you were working with. What did you actually do during your downtime? What did downtime look like?
Downtime kind of more consisted of like bay maintenance. So if they ever give us downtime, it wasn't to just sit there and do nothing. Initially, you would conduct bay maintenance, clean the bays, clean your shoes, tidy up your uniform and stuff, your locker. But I mean, as you're doing that, you do have time to talk and interact more with your fellow soldiers than you would if you were out in the range or something. If you're out in the range, you're busy, or if you're out in the field, you're busy. But when you're in your bay, you have more time to ask them more personally about their MOS, about their backgrounds, and you become more familiar with them, and you find you have a lot more in common with people than you think, especially if you guys have the same MOS. You might have the same college background, you might have the same background from home, especially going into a specific job like mine. But I would say I had a pretty good amount of downtime to get to know my fellow soldiers.
Welcome back to Your Army Now. Today's episode, we are going to focus on families. That's very important to me. I have my wife and my children. When I deployed back in 2004, they were worried and all that stuff. So, this is very important to me. So, this topic is very important. So, but we're going to specifically focus on the parents of service members. All right. So there are mothers and dads out there who have children who are in the service, and we're going to talk about the history of it. There's an actual group called the Blue Star Moms, and we're going to talk about that. I'm actually going to interview an actual Blue Star mom later. So let's get into it. What is the history of the Blue Star Moms? Back in January 22nd, 1942, yes, it was during World War II, during this time while the service members were off deployed fighting the war, a local newspaper advertiser, they were handing out some coupons for service members, family members, to fill out the coupons, I don't know, maybe to give them discounts and give them little opportunities and benefits. And a lot of these moms were getting together. A year later, they said, let's all meet. So all the moms that had these coupons, they got together at the Durant, what's it called? The Durant Hotel in Flint, Michigan. Right? They all got together, and it was like over 1,000 mothers there. Right? So they started to create this group, and they had the coupons, so they called it the Blue Star Moms. And then a year, during that in February of that same year, a year later. It was February 6th to be exact. 1943, their group was entered into the congressional record, right? When they saw how many mothers actually showed up. It was interesting. It was actually kind of shocking. So in June of 1960, the organization was chartered by Congress, and it became an official thing, the Blue Star Moms. Right? And the organization, they dedicated, at that time, it was dedicated to moms, but now, as time has gone on, it's everyone. It's parents. It's fathers as well, right? It's called the Blue Star Moms, but it's parents, right? So I tried to get my son to join. I would have been the Blue Star dad, but it didn't go that way. But that's another story for another time. All right. So what is, why is Blue Star Moms important? For you service members out there, you've all been to, if you've been to a change of command, a change of ceremony, a change of responsibility ceremony, you always notice that they give a lot of respect and a moment to recognize the parents, the mothers, the wives, the family members are very important. All right. So, and also there are over 200 chapters of the Blue Star Moms across the country. See. Honestly, I got a confession. Prior to today, I didn't even know that this existed. All right, so I learned something today too. So I'm learning as you are learning. That's what this is all about, learning together. All right, and I challenge you, recruiters out there, all right, to get this episode, tag your mother and your father. So what I'm going to do is put the link down below where you can find your local chapter. All right, so yeah, let's do it. Let's send these out to our parents. I think it's important. So when we come back from the break, because the producer's behind me, he's giving me the stank eye again, and he's saying we got to go to commercial. It's rambling too much. So we're going to go to commercial. When we come back, we're going to talk to Miss Katie Grimes. She's actually a journalist. So also, and she has a son who's in the Navy. So let's talk to her. She is an actual member of the Blue Star Moms. So let's talk to her. So this is Your Army Now. Be right back.
I remember my first day being deployed. I was field artillery. People told me it was something to be afraid of. I wasn't afraid at all. This sense of passion comes out of you that you never knew that you ever had. We sweat hard, we play hard, but we worked even harder. Some people say that freedom isn't free, but really it is, because you have us. My name is Staff Sergeant Bussey. The best part about being deployed for me was not just making a difference, but knowing I'm not sitting on my butt just talking about it.
Back. I am Sergeant First Class Bennett, as you know, and we are here. It is my pleasure and honor to welcome Miss Katie Grimes.
Thank you. Nice
How
to
are
be
you?
here.
Nice. I'm glad to have you. Thank you for coming. All right. So today we're going to talk about Blue Star Moms, right? And you, as you are one.
I am a mom. Yeah, Blue Star mom.
Yes. Could you tell us a little bit about what Blue Star Mom is?
Well, it's military moms of active duty military.
Okay.
And I'm not as active probably as I should be, but
Right.
they do all kinds of things for families, for our deployed members,
Okay.
just a huge support team.
Right, similar to our FYG.
Yeah.
So before we get more into that, tell us a little bit about yourself. What's your background? Who are you?
Who am I?
Who are you?
I currently, for the last many years, I'm a journalist. I cover politics from the state capitol,
Right.
so I can tell you how the sausage is made. Prior to becoming a full-time journalist, I was a human resources director for a large manufacturing company in Sacramento,
Right.
and I'm a quasi-Navy brat. My dad was active duty for about 5 or 6 years when I was little, and then he was Naval Reserves for another 25 or 30.
okay.
So I got a taste of what being a Navy brat was like. We would
Right.
only travel during summers, and he would teach at officer candidate schools around the country. So that was kind of my connection to the
Right.
military.
Okay, so you have some background. So
Yeah.
when your son decided to join the Navy, you kind of knew what that life was like already.
Yeah, I was very comfortable with it. I was always so proud of my dad, and always really had a soft spot for the military.
So what's it like being a military mom? What's that like?
It's a range of emotions.
Right. I can imagine.
Yeah, I'm not squeamish,
Right.
so I was super supportive when he decided to go this route. And my deal with him always has been be smart and do it the right way,
Right.
whatever you decide to do. But it's, when he's deployed, I sleep with my phone under the pillow. And, and I check the news constantly, and I'm
Right.
reading all the military blogs.
Right.
and
Driving yourself crazy.
driving myself crazy, but maintaining this cool exterior.
Right. So what does he do in the Navy? What's his job?
Well, he took an interesting route to go. He decided to apply, and he made it into the Naval Academy. So in your senior year, you have to, name what you'd like to do
Right.
if you get that choice. And he decided to go with Navy EOD, Explosive Ordnance Disposal. So he has been attached to a couple different mobile units,
Right.
one in San Diego, he's now in Virginia. So he's Navy Special Ops, and he's currently working with the Naval Special Warfare Development Group in Virginia Beach.
Right. Okay. So, were there any point that you had any reservations of him joining at any point throughout the time of his decision?
I didn't actually, because he applied to California universities also, and he did get accepted to a couple. And so we really sat down and talked long and hard about, if you go this route, that's what this means. If you go this route, it's a whole different life.
Right.
And he was very, very committed to the Navy. Specifically, he didn't apply to any other military academy. It was just that's what he wanted.
Why did he join the Navy?
Yeah, it's a good question because he has two grandfathers who were in the military. My dad was in the Navy. His other grandfather was Army Air Corps during World War II. So I'm not entirely sure why. Initially, I think he thought he wanted to be a pilot, and he thought the Navy pilots were pretty hot. Although at the Naval Academy, you can choose Marines, and the Marine pilots will tell you they're the best.
Right. How come he didn't try Air Force?
He had no interest.
No interest, okay.
Just wanted to go Navy.
Okay. So as a journalist, right? You are a journalist. Does that change how being that your son is in the military? If you have to cover any military stories, does that change how you go into how you handle the stories?
I think I'd be a liar if I said no. And any journalist that tells you they have no biases or are neutral are liars too.
Right.
Because we come at things from the positions we know.
Right.
So I have covered a couple of more, regional military stories because I have the utmost respect for the military. I think I go in it from that position.
Right.
But because of my job, and since I'm primarily a political reporter, I don't really venture into international or national military politics.
Okay, so that's a good thing, I guess.
Yeah, it's a relief.
Yeah, it would drive you crazy.
It would.
Imagine, yes.
Yeah.
So, for any of the military moms out there, right? There's probably some moms out there or dads who are looking at this show today. They're either considering their child their child is considering joining the military, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, or they are already in.
Yes.
Maybe they have a child who's deployed right now. What would be the advice that you would give to those moms?
I think the best thing we can do for our military children is to let them know we unconditionally support what they're doing. And as a parent, it can be difficult at times, just that you worry for the safety of your child.
Right.
But as I've told other people who've questioned me, how could you let your son go into the military? Or I say, number one, it's not my decision.
Right.
Number two, what if he wanted to be a police officer or work for CAL FIRE? Or there are many dangerous jobs. Military, I am quite thankful at how well trained he is.
Right.
So as I said earlier, my deal with him is you be the best, and I want to know you're safe.
Right.
I just think you have to unconditionally support your children and let them know you respect what they do.
Right, and he's well taken care of as far as opportunities and benefits and everything.
Yes.
So he's on his own and he's doing his thing. Well, I definitely commend him, and I definitely commend you.
Thank you.
As a mom, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it. Thank
Appreciate
you,
it.
Ms. Grimes.
You bet.
All right, so we're going to go to a quick commercial.
I get to have a steady income, I get to play music, and I get to travel.
Being able to come in every day and play jazz is probably the most fulfilling thing that I could possibly do.
And we're back. Earlier, I talked about the NBA 2K draft in New York City, where the e-gaming is going to take place. And I mentioned that there's a guy who's representing NorCal Sacramento recruiting, Staff Sergeant Mo. Well, I was wrong. I made a mistake. I'm here to correct that. Staff Sergeant Mo is not with us. He's coming down from USAREC. So he'll be representing USAREC. So still, give Staff Sergeant Mo some energy, because he will be representing us down there in New York City. Also, I talked about the Memorial Day run at William Land Park here in Sacramento. If you're in the Sacramento area, I want to reiterate that. Come on down, have a nice little fun run with us. It's called the No Excuse 5K Run. I love the name. Whoever came up with that name needs respect. And kudos to you, because that's a dope name for a run. No Excuses 5K Run. So come on down. William Land Park, Memorial Day. Also, I just had an interview with Miss Katie Grimes, and I mentioned the FRG. I just wanted to make sure that everyone who heard that, civilians, know what that means. It means the Family Readiness Group, FRG, Family Readiness Group. All right, so that's going to be a future episode. We're going to talk about what the FRG is and how it's very important to us, because this episode was about families, which is a good segue to talk about and reiterate the fact that you servicemen and women out there, tag your parents to this episode so they can see, that they are important, and I have some important information down there in the link below, so check it out, about the Blue Star moms and dads. Just tag the people. So we've run out of time. So I will see you. Oh, actually, I won't see you tomorrow. We will see you next week. Long story. We'll talk about it later. Anyway, salute to all those who came in and joined us today. I love it, the fact that you came in and you hung out with us. Thank you very much for that. And chill to the next episode. Salute. This is Your Army Now.